Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get-together live here on Facebook, where we take a look at current headlines from our city, Puerto Vallarta, from our state, Jalisco, from our country, Mexico. We take a look at those headlines. We also take a look at comments, questions, ideas, and suggestions that you may have for us to enjoy our life here in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English-speaking locals. It is always a pleasure to get together with you. Of course, this morning is a little strange because I am showing myself to be live, and I'm trying to refresh my browser here on the computer. And according to my computer, I am offline, which is a really strange place to be. There are your comments. Thank goodness. I was just wondering why I couldn't see your comments, and now I can see your comments, which means that you can read me just fine. So let me very quickly see if I can set something up right here. Actually, I'm going to click here, and I think we can continue with our broadcast. I can see your comments, and that is what is important to me right now. Before we get started, I have some bad news to share. We won't have Walking Wednesday today. Oh no! No Walking Wednesday? No Walking Wednesday? Well, let me tell you a little story. I was all set to go for Walking Wednesday yesterday afternoon. I had a wonderful lunch at a restaurant that I love and trust with two dear friends that I haven't seen in a while. And after lunch, I was scheduled to do my Walking Wednesday walk. I had everything planned. But as I set out to do my walk, well, if you ever thought that Montezuma's Revenge only happens to visitors or it doesn't happen to Mexicans, let me tell you, you are wrong. My stomach decided to send me some impending implosion signals, and I figured, okay, I cannot be walking when I don't know what's going to happen to my stomach. And I was out and about in the city. So long story short, and I don't want to get into details, my stomach was indisposed yesterday. So I am very, very, very sorry about that. But we will probably have Walking Friday with your permission. And today we are going to have a regular news day, as regular as they get, because the news, even the news, are really weird today. Sad news. There's a lot of sad news today. There are important news. There are fun music news. So I hope you'll stick around. We will go through the news. We will go through our weather forecast. And as usual, in the new format that we've been following, we will do our chit chat at the end of the broadcast. Let me know how, we've been going for more than a week now, or has it been a week? I don't even know that we started, taking all the chit chat to the end of the program. Let me know in your comments if you like the way things are going. But before we do that, let me dive into the news. Good news from SEAPAL, the waterworks company. They have announced the conclusion of improvement works taking place along Francisco Medina Ascencio at the El Salado Estuary. A steel pipe, a big steel pipe, was replaced by another one made of polyvinyl chloride, or PVC, which is more resistant to corrosion. Traffic along the lateral road has been restricted, or had been restricted rather, since April 22. And now that work is finished, vehicular traffic is back to normal, and meanwhile, improvement work continues in El Centro and in Colonia Emiliano Zapata, as we've been reporting. I was walking around Emiliano Zapata yesterday, and I noticed how some of the streets are closed. So, as we've mentioned before, if you are going to be driving through El Centro or through Emiliano Zapata, please be mindful of the fact that you may experience some delays due to these improvement repairs, or improvement works rather. I have very, very tragic news to report from Guadalajara. This past Friday, 3 siblings were lifted from their home by the Jalisco Nueva Generación cartel. 2 days later, their bodies were found in a canyon 26 kilometers outside of the city. A banner with a message for the government was also found at the site. The 3 siblings were in their 20s and early 30s, hardworking students with no apparent connection to the organized crime. The Jalisco's prosecutor's office is investigating this heinous crime, which is even more confusing given the fact that within 30 minutes of the siblings being kidnapped, a separate group of cartel members attacked a federal prosecutor's office vehicle that was escorting a completely different person whose identity has not been disclosed. Since this second attack happened in the vicinity of the home where the 3 siblings were lifted, it seems quite possible that they were kidnapped and murdered by mistake. Needless to say, Governor Alfaro took to his Facebook page to make the following statement, and I read: violence and organized crime have once again tainted Jalisco. We very much regret the cowardly murder of Ana Karen, Luis Angel, and Jose Alberto, who were reported as having disappeared this past Friday. There are no words for comfort, but to their families, we offer all our support, our condolences, and the firm commitment to work without rest until we find those guilty with excuses, and to challenge this sad reality that Mexico and Jalisco are experiencing. A direct threat to the government, in a banner found next to the bodies of the 3 young siblings, is not going to intimidate us. It is evident that with these attacks, the organized crime wants to submit, or wants to, wants to undermine government, and they will not be able to do that. We hope that everyone will understand that this is one more blow of delinquency against the people of Jalisco. Hopefully, we will all understand that the enemy here is organized crime, and when challenging organized crime, we need to be united without political sides. Personally, I will be following this horrible case. The prosecutor's office will continue to inform step by step and report on the advances of the investigation. Right this moment, I am on my way to Teocaltiche to support the people that had to leave their homes after being threatened by criminal groups, and to supervise works that we've been doing in this area that is near our border with Zacatecas, another state. We will be informing you as we get new news about this. And this is unfortunately a very sad story, and yet another reminder that our state has a lot of work um, to do to challenge and and conquer organized crime. Um, Again, it's I think it's important that you know these things happen. I also think it's important that you know that these things are very seldom, if ever, directed at the general public. This is, quarrels that take place among the organized crime. However, in this particular case, the prosecutor's office is looking for some possible ties that these three siblings could have had to organized crime, but everybody seems to think that they won't find any. And again, that this was just a very sad, very regrettable mistake. I will definitely um, uh, keep you updated on this very sad situation. In other news, I just wanted to very quickly let you know that if you, like me, have been patiently waiting to hear any more news about the vaccines for folks that are between 50 and 59 years of age, I'm still waiting, and there are no news that has been reported as to when we are going to continue with these vaccines. Hopefully soon. The government seems to be ready to go. We seem to be ready to go. I just want to get the darn thing, and I'm sure you do too. Let me switch over to the weather so that we can continue with the rest of the broadcast. Snarky Weather swears that Snarky Weather had nothing to do with the pipeline hack. This must have something to do with a bit of news that I'm not familiar with. But that is what it is. Right now, our weather is our temperature is 29 degrees Celsius, feels like 31. Humidity is at 57%. Our temperature in Fahrenheit is 84. And the weather forecast for today is we're going to enjoy a partly cloudy day with a high temperature of 31, low temperature of 23. Tomorrow, we can expect a clear day through the day, a high temperature of 33, low temperature of 24. And Friday, we can look forward to a clear day with a high temperature of 32 and a low temperature of 24. Not bad. Warm, but not bad. As long as the breeze is moving out and about, we can certainly withstand this. Let me now continue with a couple of other headlines that I have that are leisurely and not necessarily local, but I want to let you know that Mexican tenor Javier Camarena is one of the winners at the 2021 International Opera Awards, which were instituted back in 2013 to celebrate opera talent on and off stage. In a virtual award ceremony that took place 2 days ago, Camarena received the Best Male Singer award. He was born in 1976 in the city of Jalapa in the state of Veracruz. He made his debut in 2004 at the Fine Arts Palace in Mexico City, the one that is sinking. And a year later, he won an important competition in Barcelona, and 2 years later, another one in Switzerland. It was at that point that his career skyrocketed. And since then, he has sung with the most important opera companies in the world, including the Metropolitan Opera in New York, San Francisco Opera, and the Paris Opera. Of course, trying to be a good doobie, I went looking for YouTube performances of his, and I must confess that I got totally distracted this morning because I found a beautiful recital that he did featuring children's song by a famous Mexican composer you probably have never heard about unless you have Mexican ties, and his name was Francisco Gavilondo Soler, better known as Cri Cri. He was the singing cricket, El Grillito Cantor, and his songs, his children's songs, were the songs that I grew up with as a child. Many in my generation did. Many of his songs would now be deemed as racist or at the very least controversial. For example, Cri Cri has this beautiful song about Cucurumbe, the little black girl who hoped to go swimming in the ocean so that the white foamy waters would bleach her face. And that was extremely innocent when we sang it and we were kids. But today, I don't know how well that song would fare. He has another song about a cowboy mouse that was a gringuito. And again, it's totally innocent and wholesome, but singing a song about a gringo mouse, some people might take offense. Anyhow, I was looking for other recordings by Javier Camarena, and all of a sudden I found myself singing all these children's songs. And before I knew it, it was time to start the broadcast. But I will look for some of his material at some point, and we should actually do a whole segment about Francisco Gavilondo Soler at some point in the future, either here or at a music lecture. But in the meantime, if you have any curiosity as to who were the winners of this International Opera Awards, I'm going to leave you with an article, a web page that has all the winners that just took place a couple of days ago. I also want to invite you to celebrate two music birthdays today. Today is Gabriel Fauré's birthday. He was born in 1845. He died in 1944. He was a French composer, an organist, a pianist, and a teacher. He was one of the foremost French composers of his generation, and his musical style influenced many 20th century composers. And for him, I will leave you with a beautiful recording of one of his most popular pieces. It's 6 minutes long. It's called Pavane. And it's a very beautiful meditative piece. And if you choose to listen to it, you will notice something interesting happening in the orchestra's string section. The violins and the rest of the members of the string section, at times they play their violin as we're used to seeing them, but at other times they pluck the strings in what is known as pizzicato, or pinching the strings to create more of a plunk, 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 plunk sound. That's just a little bit of music information. And another music birthday today is Burt Bacharach. Burt Bacharach turns 93 years old today. He's still alive. He is an American composer, songwriter, record producer, and pianist who composed hundreds of pop songs from the late 1950s through the 80s, many in collaboration with lyricist Hal David. He wrote many, many hits for Dionne Warwick, for Aretha Franklin, and many other singers. He was also responsible for writing the music for the worst musical movie ever produced, which is Lost Horizon, and that is my personal opinion. It is such a bad movie, and the whole thing is very chaotic. But anyhow, what I do want to leave you with is one of these wonderful in performance at the White House concerts, which celebrates the music of Burt Bacharach, including singers like Stevie Wonder and Diana Krall and Sheryl Crowe and many others. So this should be an interesting bit of music for you to enjoy today. If you are not familiar with his music, actually strike that. I think you will be familiar with Burt Bacharach's music. You may not necessarily recognize his name, but he wrote many, many wonderful songs, or has written. He still continues to write. And you will recognize many of the songs in this particular concert from the White House. With all that said and done, let us get into chit-chat mode. I want to see who's here and what we're up to. As always, it is great to say hello to you. Raymond, it's nice to see you back. I hope you're recovering from your surgery. Both you and Michael have been going through surgeries recently, so it's a good thing to see you here. Let's see. There's Michael. Michael, I am so happy that you're here as well, and I hope that you continue to recover from your eye surgery. Boom, bam, boom, bam, bam. Celeste is here. Celeste, I owe you some conversation about yarn and crochet and acting, but I'm still thinking about it. Maybe what I need to do is to get stoned again to remember exactly all the stuff that I was thinking about. James says, no walking Wednesday. Well, I guess I'll just have to do my own walk when I get there on Saturday. Well, James, once you get here, first of all, I wish you a safe trip. And And I hope you get to town successfully. Mark says, how do you expect me to get any exercise? Well, just imagine yourself walking, Mark, and and oh, thank you very much for that, Dave. What a shitty way to spend the afternoon. Well, that's exactly the way it felt. It was not pretty. Pepto Bismol. Oh yes, we've had that on the diet. Thank you very much. Walking Friday will work as well. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. Tummy is definitely better, but I'm going to be cautious today. No adventure tacos for me today. Absolutely. Thank you for that, Matthew. New format is fine. This way works great. I see Michael says. I appreciate that very much. Anything special that we should know for Pride celebrations coming up at the end of the month? What a big question. From what I know, Pride will have its own series of events. Then there's another Pride effort being being coordinated by SETAC, which is a local AIDS and HIV clinic. And then there are all the venues and restaurants and hotels and whatever that will do their own Pride thing. Let me offer, James, to talk to my dear friends Joey and Isaac, who are the publishers of Gay Guide here in Puerto Vallarta, and try to get an update from them sometime in the near future. Saddest of news, absolutely, Christy, and that makes me think. You know, I always hesitate when the news are sad and controversial, and but at the same time, I always, in my own time, frown at the fact that many news outlets here in the city, at least those written in English, choose not to go there. I choose to go there because I've always, Luna and I have always felt you deserve the complete picture. But I appeal to you, Cluster, if some of these news that are violent and sad, real, but violent and sad, are too much for you, for this space, give me some guidelines. Give me some guidelines, because I'm happy to go where you want me to go. I would never want to be like one of those papers that just publishes every heinous crime that goes on, like the National Enquirer or things like that. But when things are big and important, I think you would want to at least be in the know. Please write down a comment to that effect today, and I'll be happy to go through them as I continue through all of your comments. Heather, thank you very much for your remarks. I very much appreciate that. Is there Pride celebrations going on in Vallarta that I'm not aware of? Again, there's the whole calendar that has been posted by the Gay Pride Committee, and there's other stuff. I will, as I mentioned just a second ago, I will talk to Joey and Isaac to see if they can give me an update, or we can have a conversation together. Yay! Let's see what else we have. Yes, thank you very, very much for that, Heather. It is so frustrating that these things happen. It is difficult to disregard them. It's difficult to think that they're not happening. I read this 1 day ago, 2 days ago, and I wondered, well, is this going to escalate or not? Do we bring it up here at Coffee and Headlines or not? And here we are. Here we are. But please guide me. Please guide me and let me know how much of this you wish to know about and how much of this is too much. And I will try to find a balance that best fits the community. James wants to hear my perspective about Pride. Pride, from what I hear, Pride in around the world struggles between being the kind of event that some of us of a certain age are used to, which encompasses cultural, political, historical awareness to give context as to how it is that we came to be here now in a world in which gay and lesbian or LGBT rights are in a better place, but not necessarily everywhere, and the fact that gay pride has become a vehicle for parties and dances and making money and so forth and so on. So there's this toggle between pride, the cultural awareness event, community event, and pride, the party event, is something that is not unique to Puerto Vallarta. It's going on here, it's going on elsewhere. And it is sad that both ends or both aspects of the event have not found a way to work together as seamlessly as they could, at least here in Puerto Vallarta. But hopefully, new leadership will come forth to unite both goals. I do know that there are people that are billed in the official Pride list of events, and then I know that other venues are just doing their own thing. What I do think is that we live in a different world, a world in which having access to information about what's going on here, there, and everywhere is very different than before, when we used to rely on a single program or a single schedule of events. I am sure that people like Joey and Isaac will be organizing a comprehensive guide, no pun intended, for their gay guide or their website, so that we can all find out exactly what is going on. I am reading your comments about organized crime, and again, it is sad that these things are happening. Let's see. I love this. Pianos must be very happy with the humidity. They thrive at around 60%. Having an acoustic piano in Puerto Vallarta would be such a complicated issue unless you have it in an environment where it can be properly taken care of. Let's see. I can't wait to look up Javier Camarena and listen to him. Thank you very much for telling us, Paco. My pleasure, Michael. I know that you're a singer as well, and I am sure that you will enjoy his recordings. He is the best of the world, yes, according to this particular organization. And it's great that Mexico has him, and he has that wonderful ballet dancer, I forget his name, that is in the Royal Ballet. And there's a couple of Mexicans that are thriving in the fine arts environment. Yes, a singing cricket, absolutely. And it's good that you're back. I will give you the link to the children's concert, Karen. I will gladly do that. In fact, I will include it in the show notes. I thought about putting it in the show notes, but I figured, well, without having at least some context as to what Francisco Gavilondo Soler's songs were about, it might be difficult for you to appreciate it. But it's beautiful music, and Matthew recognizes it, which is it just makes my day. Thank you very much. Indeed, Kri used to have a radio show on XCW, one of the longest working radio stations in Mexico City, and he would always start his program. He used to play the piano and used to play violin, and he would start his program singing, "¿Quién es el que anda aquí? Es cri cri, es cri cri." And that's what we heard when we were kids. Let's see what else we have. There you go. My friend Ted introduced me to these children's songs. Kateri reacts to Burt Bacharach's age. 93. It's crazy and wonderful that he's still with us. And I've read his autobiography. Very interesting. He was married to Angie Dickinson at some point. Then he was married to Carol Bayer Sager, another great songwriter. Fascinating man. Let's see. Brett feels old. Dionne Warwick was the first concert I saw in 1972. I love that. Let's see. Quite literally, Colleen. Quite literally, I had to run home. I was like, oh shit, literally. And, I'm sorry to go there. I shouldn't, what happens with my plumbing should not necessarily be your business. But there you have it. I think I may be interested in a crocheted cod piece. I don't know what a cod piece is. But Angelo, if you give me more specifics, I'll be happy to explore that. Let's see. Yes, Rita chimes on one of the more recent songs by Burt Bacharach. That's what friends are for. He wrote that with Carol Bayer Sager. Great song, Stevie Wonder. Oh, it was one of those. It was one of those "We Are the World" type songs, wasn't it? A bunch of people sang it together. I remember Stevie Wonder. I remember Dionne Warwick. Um, Logan says, shout out to Chef Cesar Barajas from Cayo Blanco for putting together an awesome birthday dinner last night here at Villa Lola. A year and a half in the works due to the pandemic. So nice to have everybody vaccinated again and able to fulfill their travel plans. I chime in on that shout out. We've talked about Cayo Blanco twice, at least twice here at Coffee and Headlines. Once when we added the restaurant to our Versailles for Foodies map, and recently when we went back to specify more or dive in more specifically into their taco menu, which is absolutely delicious. Needless to say, right now, Cayo Blanco is going through, the trials and tribulations of having Calle Francia Street. Calle Francia Street, that was too many words. Francia Street is being remodeled right outside of Cayo Blanco, so I'm sure they can use all the business they can get. So if you're in the mood for spectacular seafood tacos, I recommend Cayo Blanco wholeheartedly. They're here in Colonia Versalles. Definitely check them out. Thank you very much, Carol. Thank you very much. Again, this will be an exceptional Friday walk. I would even recommend it. I would even announce that we will have it tomorrow, but I want to be just certain that that we can have the walk that you deserve, and we'll make sure that we have it on Friday. Tammy, it's nice to see you. I hope that things are going well at Nacho Daddy, and it's nice to know that you are joining us on a regular basis. Needless to say, if there's anything going on that we should be announcing and so forth and so on, by all means, please feel free to let us know, and we'll be happy to share it with the community. I am reading your feedback regarding the quality and nature of news that we are sharing here at Coffee and Headlines, and I appreciate this information, and I appreciate your comments. Thank you very much for that, James. I think pride is one of those things that we gravitate to the things that are important to us or that we can relate to. If you enjoy going out to the night venues, there's going to be plenty for you. If you enjoy the more cultural things, hopefully there will be more and more with time in the future. Let's see what else. I think we need to know about the sad news as well. Thank you very much for that, Angelica. Important to know all the news. Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. In a perfect world, everything would be sunshine and roses. I appreciate that. So many years of working in journalism here in Puerto Vallarta, and I'm sure that Heather, who is listening and watching, can appreciate this because we were both on that boat together. We get so used to trying to just not talk about the bad stuff that when the bad stuff is like right in your face, what else can you do other than to acknowledge it? Thank you very much for all your comments regarding the news. I don't think we need to bring them up here, but I appreciate everything you're saying. Can you put the Gay Guide website in the show notes, please? I'll gladly do that, James. I will go looking for whatever information they have about gay pride. Mushi wants to hear more about Vallarta-related issues. I appreciate that, Mushi. For better or worse, we're always going to include a lot of news about Mexico as a culture, because this is the country that we live in. And if that is the kind of information that you're not as interested in, I can appreciate that. Sometimes trying to find interesting and meaningful Vallarta news is not the simplest thing, but I appreciate your feedback. Thank you, my cousin Norma, who is a ballet dancer, reminds me of the name of Isaac Hernandez, the famous ballet dancer that works with the Royal Ballet. Here's another one of those. Angelica remembers Cri Cri. I love it. And let's see what else. Ba-ding, bum, 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 bum. A cod piece is when you got a fish on the side. Okay, got it. Is that what a cod piece is? Because then Matthew says, I can't wait to see the look on your face when you find out what a cod piece is. Are you guys playing games with me? um, oh, a cod piece is from the Middle Ages where a man stored his junk into a pouch. Oh, heavens, Angelo. I mean, I wish I'd known because what you want is a jockstrap. Well, you're not the first person to request one. If you send me a pattern, I'll look into it. Let's see. Oh, you guys are getting punny with all this business with the cod pieces. Too funny. Thank you, Rita, for that context about That's What Friends Are For. I knew it was one of those songs. Thank you very much for that, Piba. I tell you, codpiece, that's and I've been so close to them when I come to think of it. I wish I'd known that what a codpiece was. Let's see what else we have. I think we are there pretty much. Henry VIII had a famous codpiece. Well, I will research crochet jockstrap. Why not? I mean, it's got to be there. And that, my friends, that a jockstrap, a crochet jockstrap, is how we wrap our broadcast for today. Again, apologies. It was a strange day with news, so we grabbed what we could. Apologies again for not being able to give you Walking Wednesday today. We will walk today and present on Friday. But I hope you'll come back tomorrow. And if not, I hope you'll come back as soon as you can. In the meantime, please stay happy, stay kind, wear a cod piece or not. And I hope to see you soon. Have a great day.